Okay, today we're going to be talking about my 1 year review of the MK7 going into 2025. Happy New Year to everybody. Let's go ahead and get it going. The Maxton lip getting these headlights. It's held up. Those are the coil packs. The intercooler right here. It's been reliable for me to drive it with this tune and the DSG tune as well. But here I could go a little bit like that, see? Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that I've done for the past year on the MK7. Starting with the wheels. If you guys watch my previous episode on the wheels, you would know that I got a good deal because it came with the tires, and I'm always looking for a deal, especially on a daily driver like this one. This is just sort of a gunmetal aftermarket wheel, which is actually the same spec as my stock ones. I mean, I wish it was a little bit wider, but if you get a deal with the tires, you can't really beat it. Plus, my wheel combo actually came with the sensors for the MK7, so that would have cost me a couple $100 each if I had to get them brand new. So it's good that I didn't even have to worry about adding anything as far as the wheel and tire combo. Even the sensor came with it, so that was a good deal. And for the past year, I haven't had any issues with the Michelin all-weather tires. Still pretty good. And as you can see, I take care of my wheels, even though this is just a daily driver. There's no like curb rash. You can see like right here. Still looks clean, no curb rash. And I would say for a daily driver, it's been pretty good, you know, considering. Even though obviously I wish it was a little bit wider, right? I did have spacers at one point, but I decided not to have them because for safety reasons. And so I just kind of left them like this. So the headlights. I've had a little bit of issue with these headlights because there are different types of aftermarket headlights for the MK7. And I didn't realize that until I actually purchased one, because this is like MK7, the first one, and then there's the MK7.5, so to speak. And those lights are different. They won't fit here because of the bulbs are different, right? And so I actually had to modify them to make them fit the for the daytime and the driving lights, or I mean the driving lights and my nighttime lights. I had to kind of modify a little bit. You guys can watch my episode on that. Well, basically, I haven't had any issues with it. The only thing that, of course, sometimes I think about is the fact that, you know, I had to change the bulbs, and I don't know if it's gonna stay secure the way I installed it. But so far, I haven't had any issues. But you know, that's something that you want to think about when you get like an MK7, that's not 0.5, where you have to kind of modify the bulbs. That's something to think about, you know, because this isn't cheap either, right? Getting these headlights, they're not cheap. So it should come with the bulbs already, right? I don't have, or at least it should come with the housing. I shouldn't have to modify and retrofit myself and all that. That's just too much trouble. Plus, it may not be as secure. And so that's just something to think about when you're gonna purchase headlights for the MK7. Which one do you have? Do you have the first one, or do you have the MK7.5 and all that? If you have to modify the bulbs, I would recommend that you don't do it. So there you have it. But so far so good though, as far as my review of the lights. I haven't had any issues with it. It still works really good at night, both the daytime and my low beams. Even my high beams I had to replace, by the way. So the Maxton lip, go get a side view right there, a side view, as you can see. And so now for this lip, I kind of have mixed feelings because I didn't realize that having this lip was gonna make it much lower, as you can see. And so every time I go through a dip, even if it's not that bad, I seem to scratch like this area right here. See, as you can see, this area, boom, right? And so I'd say it's kind of annoying, you know, because I didn't really have to install this, but now that I did, it just made it too much, not too much, but it made it much lower than I prefer it to. Because now I have to be careful. I can't just go straight, or even when I snake it, I would still hit certain parts of the lip, like right here in the corners, right? So that's something to think about if you guys install a Maxton lip like this one. So this is the front emblem, right? As you can see. And this one was very easy to install because you just remove the old one and then you just pop this in. I didn't have to glue this one like the one in the rear. Good thing. So that's an easy one. I would say it's held up. Remember, if you guys watched my episode, you would know that I had to glue this thing. Unlike the front one, which was much easier to install, this one I had to glue in place. So this is pretty much permanent, right? So even if I sell this car, someone else is going to be enjoying this carbon fiber emblem right here. Check out the motor. Okay. And so what did I add for the engine part? Nothing much. I did little things to it. Again, keep in mind this is a daily driver, right? Even though it's stage 2. What I did was I replaced those are the coil packs, right? The spark plugs. I replaced the hose. I also replaced the filter, and that's pretty much it. You know, nothing major, right? Just the hoses, the coil packs, the spark plugs to make them colder, you know, for my stage 2, and then also the aftermarket air filter. I didn't really want to go with a cold air intake because I just feel like it's troublesome. I've done that before. All of my cars before has had some type of cold air intake, but I think for a daily driver it's not necessary. In fact, it could even make your performance go down a little bit more. And so I just prefer getting like an aftermarket air filter that fits right here, right? So I won't have any issues. I don't want to worry about like if I drive somewhere and it's wet and it goes right into my air filter and all that stuff. I just don't want to deal with that because I've done that in the past many times. So keep this a daily driver. One of the biggest things that I added for the MK is the intercooler right here. So this sucker took a little bit longer to install, but again, it's a bargain intercooler, right? So you can't really expect much. You guys can watch my episode and you'll see some of the things I had to do. I had to sort of modify the mount a little bit. So I had to do a few tweaks here and there. But aside from that, it's held up. For the past year, it's held up. It hasn't moved or anything. And the performance that I get out of it is still better than stock. And so people may say, oh, you shouldn't have done a bi-cooler setup. Probably. But as I mentioned, I was thinking about upping the power even more than the stage 2 that I have, right? And now I'm not so sure if I will. But even if I leave it alone, even in stock, well, not stock form, but even for just daily driving, I don't really see a loss in power. Obviously, I don't really take this to the tracks, right? Like right here. You know what I mean? This is not, the MK7 is not a track car. This is a daily driver, okay? And so it's got enough power, more than enough power for me, even with the sort of wasted bi-cooler hoses, right? But I don't really feel like it's a waste. I feel like it's been good. It's held up for me, you know? And it drives the way it should. No issues whatsoever for this bargain intercooler right here. I have this cheap diffuser right here, as you can see. Right. And again, this is really probably one of the cheapest things I've added. This is like what, less than 50 bucks, I would say. And it gives it a little bit of flavor without having to replace this whole piece right here. It gives it a little bit of flavor, but it is somewhat flimsy if you mess with it. But I haven't really, but so far it's been holding up, I would say, even though, yeah, so far this diffuser has been holding up. Even though I go to Vegas here and there, right? And do my daily driving, it's still holding up, so it's still pretty good, you know, like I said. What else? Okay, you gotta pardon the car, it was sprinkling today for some reason. It's a weird weather here in Vegas, so. Another thing is this right here. And so I would say this has held up. This has held up nicely, and I haven't had any issues with it. This little sort of, I don't think it's carbon fiber, but this sort of carbon fiber looking rear spoiler has held up. And if you guys watch my episode on the install, you know that I pretty much just have a double-sided tape all around. Easy install I had to do was just put it in place right here, right? For maybe an hour, and it's pretty much permanent, I think. I don't think I'm going to be taking off this piece. And again, if I sell the MK, someone else is going to be enjoying this piece right here. Yeah. Oh, okay, so right here I've added the WeatherTech, as you can see, this piece, right? And this is really nice. I like it, you know, because this really gets rid of the wind, if you will. This thing has held up, and I like it because I don't have to close my window all the way up, right? And it's pretty easy to install. You guys can check out my episode on this as well. All you have to do is just slide it in, and you never have to take it out anymore once you do that. So I like them. Okay, so for the exhaust system, that's probably the last thing I added on the MK. So far so good, you know. I've had it for like maybe roughly what, 6 months or so, and I would say it still serves its purpose as a cheap aftermarket exhaust. I would just say that I don't like the droning, because if you're going 80, it's still kind of okay, but when you go past 90 and up, it's really super loud, so it's not very comfortable. In fact, I was considering going back to stock. We'll see. You know, like I said, I have a downpipe in here, and you know, it's all right. I think I could get away even with the stage 2 if I just have the stock muffler and the aftermarket downpipe and stuff like that. It would still be good. The only issue is with the check engine light. You know, I even though I have the spacer, no matter what I do to adjust it, I still get that check engine light. So what are you gonna do, right? It's just something that I have to deal with. For the interior, what did I do? Not much, you know. So probably just the paddle shifters right here, as you can see. And this have held up pretty good. Never any issues, because what I do, all I do is use my paddle shift right here, right? Boom. So it's not really an issue. The main feature probably of the interior, if you would call it anything, is the cob, right? The cob access port, which works fine. Works fine, you know, and considering this is probably one of the most expensive things that you would purchase if you have a stage 1 or stage 2 MK7, I haven't had any issues with it. In fact, it's been working the way it should. So I have a Stratified stage 2 tune and a DSG tune for this car, so that's good enough for me. You know, I don't have any issues with driving and stuff like that. I feel like it runs the way it should. Later on, I'll drive it and give you guys a little bit of the pops and bangs for the Stratified. But I feel like it's been reliable for me to drive it with this tune and the DSG tune as well. One thing that I forgot to mention are the D2 coilovers that I have. It's been installed about a year. So far so good, no issues. It's a little stiffer than stock, no matter how I adjust it, but that's just how it is. The thing with MK7s I noticed is that they don't handle quite as good as some of the other cars I've had, the rear wheel drive cars. And so I really wanted to put coilovers, so even if it's stiffer, I feel like it handles better. I just have to be careful, like when I go in driveways, like this one right here, you know, I gotta take my time. Obviously because it's lower and the front lip sometimes scrapes if I don't snake it. And when you hit the bumps, it's a little bit bouncy. That's just the nature of having coilovers. It's just not gonna feel like stock. And so you just have to be okay with having some stiffness and some bounce when you're driving. So for me, I just prefer having some type of suspension with like coilovers and such because, like I said, the MK7, I don't feel like it handles as well as some of the other cars I've had before, especially the rear wheel drive cars. And so I feel like some type of suspension like the D2 coilovers are a little bit helpful in terms of feeling more comfortable with taking turns and stuff like that. So when you do modifications for a daily driver, you can't get too crazy. You know, I've done crazy mods for my other cars, but that's different. The purpose for that was more for track, or the other one's for show, you know, doing full modifications. But it's not a daily driver, right? It's not something like this car where I drive it every day. So, and again, you know, the Cobb access port is great right here, as you can see. I play with the gauges right here. So it's been very useful for me to have the access port, you know, because I just check the oil temp, you know, or the NOx sensor, all the gauges that are in here. I get to kind of check out, mess around with, or whatever, you know. And I think that's probably the best part of having an MK7 is being able to use your Cobb access port with your ride, especially when you have the stage 2, stage 1, stage 2, whatever. I think it's one of the best things, right? Because I just bring this with me. I don't have to keep it in here. I just bring this with me, and then I can always adjust. Especially, you know, when it's time to get my car smogged, I just detune this car once more. Of course, I have to remove, you know, the exhaust and all that stuff. But this is not like where I drive every day. This is just more like, oh, when I'm taking a break, then I go to Vegas or wherever, and the car works just fine. It's probably better when I take it out on vacay than when I just daily drive it, right? Because when I daily drive it, I can't really make the most out of it in terms of power, right? Because it's more of a daily driver. Okay, I'm gonna go right now. Watch, check it out. So, boom. All right. So, did you hear that? Once in a while, maybe there's like a open road, just for that short distance, then you can just give a little bit, you know, a little bit of 1, 2, if you will, first and second gear. But you can't really go over third gear in these types of areas. To make the most out of like a stage 2 with all the the pops and bangs and stuff like that, you gotta always be on open roads. But in like city areas, the Strip, Spring Mountain, or even when I daily drive back home in Cali, I can't really take advantage of all that good stuff for the Stage 2. Check out this car right here, this McLaren. See, now I can do some pops and bangs when it's a little bit more open like this. Sometimes it's hard to hear the pops and bangs when you go over like 4th gear, 5th gear. You know, so I like it. Usually the sweet spot usually is like 2nd, 3rd gear. That's when you hear, you know, most of them. Sometimes I like to downshift it back to 3rd gear, and then I can hear it. That's why I downshift sometimes. And so it's yeah, it's hard doing burbles when it's traffic, right? And then there's a lot of cops here too in Vegas. So I just gotta sneak it in here and there, you know. But maybe when it starts going green and there's no one in front of me, or like right now, let's see. This thing right here. Okay. Who was that? Huh? You know, everybody's just honking, right? I mean, the holiday is really the worst. People are really don't have any patience when it comes to the holidays, man. So. That's how you burble, you know, do it in public so that way some people can enjoy it or get annoyed by it. I don't know. You can't do it that often. Like I said, you can't do it that much. That was probably just like one of those rare moments where there was no car in front of me, it was green, and then you just go for it. Let's go one more, yes? Okay. One for the road right here. Let's see what we can do. Check out these people. So yeah, that's how we do it, man. That's how we do it. Let's talk about night driving with the MK7. I think for me it's more enjoyable to do night driving. I just don't do it as much. But I think it's more fun. Especially if you're in a place like this where there's so many people, right? Check it out. So something like this, at Fremont, it's always busy. Of course you can't really do like spirited driving, but it just in terms of cruising and enjoying your car, I definitely enjoy night driving. And for the MK7, it's pretty smooth, you know. It's not, you don't have any hiccups. It runs as it should, and you get to just chill. You don't really have to drive crazy. You just kind of take your time, if you will, as far as driving is concerned. With my Cobb access port, everything illuminates, so you can just check out the gauges. See, so it's very clear. Nighttime kind of gives you a different feeling. You know, obviously it's not always about having the chill vibe, but it definitely you can also drive a little bit faster if you want to. I just wouldn't recommend it, especially on a busy street like this, right? Try to do a couple burbles, nothing too crazy, because you know we're downtown and there's a lot of cars here, but I could do a couple of burbles just to kind of feel things out a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. Then of course the burbles are louder too, you know, so when I was driving earlier, right, in the daytime, you could hear the burbles. They're loud, but they're not as pronounced. But when you're driving at night, you could really hear those pops, especially when you emphasize it. After first gear, second, third, it's loud, you know, it kind of echoes a little bit. So something like this, see how there's no one here? Something like this, you can kind of drive a little bit. See? Like that, right? You can do that, you know? So something like that I can do. You know, no big deal, right? Right here, watch. Again, I talked about it earlier about the check engine light right there. That really bothers me, man. I mean, I know it doesn't mean anything having the check engine light, but the fact that it's there, it's really annoying, you know, especially even if I'm playing with the see, look at this, it's green and people are still walking. See? It's green and people are still walking. What are you gonna do? So you can't really go crazy here. I mean, you're lucky to even cross, like right here. So all these people, it's nuts. See, look. White Castle right there, right? Boom. Can't really get too crazy. There's a lot of people, you know, so probably, you know, here and there you just take your time. If there's an opportunity, you pop, but if there's not, then don't sweat it. Yeah. See, a quiet place like this, you can really hear the echoes of the pops and stuff, which is kind of cool, right? In contrast to having a lot of different noises from other cars or people and just external noises. Right now everything is quiet. You can really hear it. So yeah, we'll just give it one more run and then we should be good. You know? Check out the people here. So yeah, we're gonna be walking Fremont after this because I think I'm maybe pushing a little bit now with all these pops and bangs and stuff. By the way, with the MK7 it runs much better, you know, with the stage 2 because it's cooler right now, right? 62 degrees. Last time I went here was super hot, like I've shown you. Last episode I was driving super hot, over 110. So I think the turbo was working too hard, you know. But now everything is good. Like that, you know what I mean? So right here you can see it's pretty busy, right? So I don't really want to get too crazy here. See, everybody's here. That's what I'm going to do right now. So we're going to be looking for a spot here, probably park right here at Fort Queens, and then start enjoying that Fremont experience and just, yeah, get this night started, if you will. Ooh, it's so bright now. Look, it's green already, but people are still walking. Oh my God. See, it's like, yeah. See, so here, I'm not really gonna drive wild here, man. It's like, it's too risky. Maybe. But here I could go a little bit. Like that, see? Yeah. See, there I can do that. So, yeah. So I'm gonna go park over here.
Please touch screen for a ticket.
What the fuck? See, there it is. You know, let's see how it is in here. Parking lot inside Four Queens. Not sure if I could do any pops in here. Let me try it real quick. Ooh, man, it's loud in here. Crazy, right? So it really echoes inside the parking structure. Oh, didn't even realize it's gonna be that loud, but hopefully I don't wake anybody up, but you know, you get the idea. That's how loud it sounds when you do it underneath. So yeah, it's pretty loud. I think it's pretty loud. So quick tip, if you're gonna park Fort Queens, make sure you try to get the corner spot like right here. Yeah, it's been a crazy night over here at the Fremont experience with that whole incident with the, hey, I think I went the wrong way, darn it. See, I'm tripping, huh? Is this the wrong way? No.
Wrong way.
Shit, I'm tripping, okay. Let me, see, I can't even drive. What the hell's going on? Shit. Okay, so let me just turn it back around here. And yeah, because I'm just tripping really quick. So yeah, I got all distracted. I was gonna go the wrong way, but yeah, it's been like a crazy night over here at a Fremont experience. This whole 2025 is starting off real crazy. There was like a fight. There's a couple of people that got into a fight. It was blood all over the floor, and I don't know, man. It was just crazy. And normally here at Fremont it's been good, but yeah, you just never know. So this is just one of those nights over here at Fremont. All right, so there you go. I guess it works. So when you guys go to Fort Queens, just get your ticket validated and you're good to go. The way to do that is just to play a few games inside and then call someone to help you guys out. So it was actually last year that I got this car, right? And I started adding all these mods. If you guys watched my what is it, sort of review, I think 6 months or so, how I added everything as fast as I can, and I have all these mods. So it's not necessarily that it's been a year with the mods, but within that year I started adding all the mods, and so far I haven't had any issues with anything that I've added. That's what I mean. And again, this is a daily driver, and now we're headed into 2025, right? So I don't know what the plan is for the MK7, and that's why I'm doing this video, just in case, you know, I don't drive the car as much as I used to. There's so many things happening right now, you know, with crypto, Bitcoin blowing up to 100K. I don't know if you guys know that. So get your moon bags ready, because you never know when things are going to blow up. Get some Ethereum, get some ICP, get some of your favorite cryptos, but that's not financial advice, by the way. Right now, I'm here in Vegas, right? So every time I drive in Vegas, I enjoy the MK7 because it's got the stage 2, it has enough power. Of course, the only thing that I really don't like is the droning from the exhaust. Really, I'm not too crazy about that. Once you go past 90, it's like, I don't like it. Aside from that mod, everything else works fine, you know? And so I do enjoy the MK7. I'm just saying, if I don't have time anymore in the future, and if I do get rid of it, it's not because I stopped enjoying the car. It's only because I haven't had time to enjoy it, and maybe someone else would make the most of it, especially after all the things I've added, even though it's not super crazy like all my other cars in the past. So I think I pretty much covered everything in terms of the mods that I added for the MK7. Going into 2025, I would say, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see if I keep this car. But either way, it's been good. And so, Happy New Year, happy 2025. Till next time, drive safe and keep on rolling.